Save today at Room to Room's President's Day sale. 55% off furniture and mattresses, 20% off accessories, and 24-month special financing. The time to act is now.
Room to Room Tupelo, where we know there's no place like your home.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
Well, welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 10. I'm meteorologist Gabe, and we are in for a cooler night. If you haven't stepped outside so far this evening, you probably haven't noticed that dip in temperatures just yet, but after this broadcast is over, go ahead and do so, because if you look at that temperature change, it's a noticeable difference from where we sat this time last night. We're talking nearly 15 to 17 degrees closer to Marshall County and up around Tunica County. Now, this is what to expect carrying over into our Thursday morning, so grab an extra layer. You might have shoved those off to the side the past couple of days with how mild things have been, but yes, this is going to be the big headline tonight, is that noticeably cooler morning ahead. Seeing it right there, evident by our temperature change. And trust me, it'll be evident tomorrow morning walking out the door. Stormy Valentine's Day weekend ahead, and I'm saying this now because it's not too late to alter those plans. Get a plan B. Throw an audible out there. We definitely probably need to do so. But there will be a few breaks here and there, breaking down that storm timing here in just a moment. Mild temperatures, though, not going anywhere once these cooler temperatures clear out. We're talking as soon as Thursday afternoon, we'll be heating back up once again, well above our 30-year average. The first 12, 44 degrees by 11 p.m. and by early hours there, we're going to sit in the mid to upper 30s heading out the door. Big reason why, that shift in the pattern, but we're also getting those clear skies allowing for that heat that we were able to build over the past couple of days, all of that to escape overnight, and that's where we're going to be left with a cooler start to the day. For that sunshine, the clear skies, as much damage as it'll do tonight, it brings us blessings into our Thursday afternoon. Clarksdale tonight, 46 degrees, dew point still in the mid-40s, so that's going to limit how much we cool off, but we do expect both of those to continue to drop overnight as that northerly wind dominates folks out there. So big part of our forecast is going to be those northerly winds. As you can see there in place in Clarksdale, in place in Amory, and all throughout Monroe County, 45 degrees, and there's that drier air we were talking about. 30-degree dew points already, meaning there is a lot of room to drop into those overnight hours there in Monroe County. So Amory, layer up tomorrow morning. It is going to be a bit of a cold start. 50 degrees in Maben, a little bit further south. Dew point still in the mid-30s. That's where I'd expect a lot of us to be by our Thursday morning, by the time our meteorologist Maggie McCauley is tracking out that forecast for you. So make sure to tune in bright and early, because she will have those cold temperatures on the horizon. Now, where it's coldest right now, South Haven, Tunica, Holly Springs already at 44, Oxford at 43, Tupelo, shout out Lee County, 42 degrees. So some areas cooler than others. There are still a few locations in the low 50s towards Pickens County, Noxubee County, and Oktibbeha County. But like the rest of us, we do expect all of us to cool off overnight and be a noticeably cooler start to our Thursday. As we take a look at our Mama Justice Doppler radar, we are continuing to remain with those dry conditions overhead. And as you can see, this frontal system has gradually shifted south and east away from us in North Mississippi, and that's where all of the moisture sits. So what we're getting back behind this is more of that drier air building in due to this high pressure center up there towards Illinois and Missouri. Now, that'll continue to work its way overhead here in North Mississippi towards our Thursday, and that's why we do expect the drier forecast to remain in place. So tracking that out on Futurecast, we're talking overnight, 10, 11, 12 o'clock, that'll start to shift more towards the east. As it does that, it'll shift those winds once again. So these northerly winds will not complement our day for the entirety of it. It will start northerly, and then as the day goes on, shift more to an easterly, and then eventually a southerly flow. And whenever we get that southerly flow back into the forecast, that's going to be that moisture building back into North Mississippi, and that moisture setting the scene for the soggy weekend ahead. As I mentioned, Valentine's Day, not looking ideal, but that goes for the entirety of the weekend, and we'll have those updates here in just a moment. The next 24 stay dry, 36 degrees, 6 a.m. Plenty of sunshine during those afternoon hours, warming us up nicely back into the low 60s. So don't worry, layers, they'll be needed, but only for a couple of hours before things ramp right back up and we're above average for this time of year. Now that carries over into the weekend as well, but so do those rain chances. I know that's what a lot of folks are worried about heading into this weekend. It's Valentine's Day weekend. It's opening weekend of college baseball. Lots going on. Let's go ahead and take a look at all those forecasts. We'll have the full breakdown of those here in the next 60 seconds live here from the Room to Room Weather Center.
I have been going to Tupelo Smiles my whole life. When I was a kid, I was unhappy about some uneven coloring on my teeth after getting my braces off, which at the time there really wasn't a fix. I was recently made aware of a solution that would totally fix it, which is exactly what we did. They not only heard my concerns, but they never stopped looking to solve my problem, and that's why I love Tupelo Smiles.
Hate is loud, but love is the majority.
I'm your retirement fear, but don't be scared. You're still in pre-tirement.
Does that mean I have more time to plan?
Precisely. This is pretirement.org.
This isn't scary. I'm doing it.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
Well, weather watchers showing up tonight with a beautiful sunset. This submitted by my mom-in-law over there in Ellistown. And as you can see, the beautiful orange, red, just all the hues there in the distance. It's just a beautiful sunset and one that we're actually able to view because last night it was raining around this time. So Miss Holly, thank you so much for submitting this. And if you have a picture of the sunset or the beautiful clear night sky that we're getting right now, go ahead and send those into the Mississippi Live Weather app and we'll work to get those in the shows because we love showcasing what you guys are sending, and we appreciate every one of you that do so. As we bring it back here to the Mama Justice Doppler radar, you can see that dry conditions remain overhead, hence why we're able to get a good picture of the sunset. But a big part of our forecast is the temperatures, and the clear skies allow for that heating of the day to escape and the cooler conditions to push in place. That's why we're currently in 47 degrees Tupelo, 46 up there towards Ripley, 44 Hernando, and 46 around parts of Iuka. And these temperatures just continuing to trend down overnight. We're just starting that cooling trend, but as you can see, we're talking a double-digit difference from this time yesterday, with some areas nearly a 20-degree change, and that's not just including North Mississippi. If we look on the expanded area all the way across the southeast, and you see the bullseye I had to mark on this, a 20 to near 30-degree change. So colder air back in the forecast, but does not last long. You can kind of see that cold dipping south into the southeast and mid-south as well. So that's why temperatures currently in the upper 40s Tupelo. Warmth isn't too far away, upper 50s down around Jackson, low 60s still towards Hattiesburg, and that warmth will build back into the forecast as that pattern shifts once again. And that's going to happen as soon as our Thursday afternoon. So as we take a look at our day planner overnight, it is going to be, I apologize for the misalignment. I meant to fix that. But as you take a look at our day planner through the overnight hours and into our Thursday, you can see how we're dropping into the mid 30s there by 6 a.m. And then as we climb into the lunchtime hour, already back into the low 60s. So this is not going to be a noticeable or a big difference in our forecast, just a very short time frame that we're having to deal with that colder air. And a big reason why is, again, this high pressure center that's moving in from our north. As you can see with the positioning that it's in right now, we are continuing to get that northern air cycling in towards North Mississippi, and that's what's allowing some of that colder air to dip south into our area in the Magnolia State. But as we head during those overnight hours, that's where we will see this high pressure slowly but surely shift a little bit out towards the east. And as it does so, let me get my editing tool here. You can see how the winds are already starting to get a little bit of a shift in the direction. So we're starting to get it more out of the northeast. And then as we push more towards our Thursday afternoon, we'll start to get more of an easterly flow. And as that high pressure system shifts, so will our winds. So low temperatures Thursday morning going to be in the mid to upper 30s. I told you a noticeable difference, a much colder forecast, but not nearly as cold as last week. So while it is a dip, we're still grateful that it's not as bad as what it could be, and we can survive 36 in Tupelo, Houston, Amory, 37 Starkville, 40 Kosciuszko, Belzona, and Greenwood. That's not too bad of a forecast. And on top of this, it's not going to be overly breezy either, knocking the temperature down maybe a couple of degrees, but that significant wind chill, that's a thing of the past, at least with this pattern that we're in, and we're not expecting that to impact our forecast for our Thursday. 35 degrees around pickup, though, if you're dropping those kids off at school or if they're heading to the bus stop, make sure that they have an extra layer to stay warm, and same thing for you. Heading off to work, we want you to stay warm as well. maybe crank those cars a little bit early, not because it's frosty, but just to get that heater going. It might have been a few days since you've had to turn that on, so get it back going. I did see some folks in the chat actually saying they're turning their heater on for the first time this week, tonight. So make sure to do so. You might have forgotten, but before you head to bed, I know your morning self will be grateful that you thought ahead. But by the afternoon, will not need it, so go ahead and turn it off, because by the time we get towards the afternoon, things trend so much better that we'll be sitting pretty. Honestly, put the windows up at that point. It's going to be that good of a forecast. As we were talking about, high pressure defining our Thursday. As the day goes on, it will begin to move up towards the east-northeast, and watch this wind direction. You're starting to see those barbs come out of the east towards the west. That's going to be that easterly flow here in North Mississippi. That's not exactly bringing in warmer air just yet, but it is bringing that, or pushing that colder air a little bit more towards the north. So as that continues to do so, and as that wind continues to shift, basically going in that clockwise direction as we get that shift taking place, that'll bring in that warmer air by the afternoon and evening hours because of that change. So as we get more towards that mid to late afternoon, you're still getting some of those easterly winds, and that's again going to keep temperatures pretty mild for our Thursday, all things considered. So if it's too cold by Thursday morning, by the afternoon, we're sitting pretty. 62 degrees New Albany, Oxford, even out towards Hamilton, Alabama, 65 Vernon, Alabama, as well as down towards Pickens County, 66 Kosciuszko, Belzona, Greenwood. Not a bad forecast whatsoever, and as you can see, well above our normal for this time of year, as has been the case all week long. So this dip, not exactly affecting our high temperatures whatsoever. Pretty much what we got for our Wednesday is what we're getting for our Thursday as well. Now I want to zoom things out here real quick, because what we're going to be watching for is our next weather maker. And our next weather maker is actually well out here towards the west. That's starting to work up there towards the southwest United States. And as that continues to become a little bit more organized, that's where we're going to get that to develop and start to shift a little bit more east and bring in some of those rain chances. So it's not impossible at all that we get this stormy setup out there towards West Texas. And that same stormy setup that we'll get on our Friday will be our story by Saturday, but really towards Sunday, as that system propels a little bit more towards the east, driving out this high pressure center and driving out those dry conditions as a result. As we bring it back in here to North Mississippi, because as you can see, still has a little bit of time before that does get organized. So we're going to transition it back to what we're getting here in the Magnolia State, and there's a reason why I zoomed it out. There's not much to track in our forecast. We're still getting those leftover effects of high pressure, and we remain dry overnight and into the start of our Friday as well. And don't get me wrong, Friday's temperature is going to be a bit of a cooler start as well, but not as cold as Thursday. That's why we're pushing it a little bit more for Thursday. It's just going to be a noticeable difference from what we had this morning. 39 New Albany, Iuka, Boonville, Tupelo, 40 in Amory, 45 Belzona and Greenville, and 42 for folks out there towards Clarksdale. Still above our normal for this time of year. So although we are seeing 30s, it's really what we'd expect this time of year. So we can't be surprised, and honestly still grateful that it's not any worse. But as the day goes on, you guessed it, warm air does return by the afternoon. We're not going to see that cold air affect any of our high temperatures in that extended pattern. And that's just because this warm air builds back into North Mississippi from the Gulf as those southerly winds kick a little bit more into the forecast. Now, those southerly winds actually building back our moisture on our Friday. So that's key to our forecast going into the weekend, because in order for these showers and storms to happen, and we expect them to, we need moisture to resustain itself in the Magnolia State, and we start to get that as soon as Friday afternoon. So that's why these chances have been pushed back a little bit, is because the moisture is taking a little bit longer to build back into North Mississippi. So by 3 p.m., I mean, it's pretty calm winds, all things considered, but it is still getting that easterly, southeasterly flow, allowing for some of that cloud cover to build once again, and potentially a few showers. But all these showers going to primarily be by the late hours of our Friday and really into our Saturday and Sunday. So for anyone that was rescheduling plans on Friday, I think Friday we're going to be good and stay dry for any of those afternoon, early evening plans before those rain chances kick in late Friday night. So just wrap up your day early. I think you'll be good to go. But as that warm front extends a little bit more towards the north, that's where we're going to see the effects in our forecast getting into our Saturday and Sunday. Now, before we continue, I do want to drag in real quick the extended forecast, and I'll have to edit one thing behind the scenes, so bear with me one moment. We're going to just drag that in, extend it out, and make sure that we cover the entirety of the weekend. So I'm going to have to put a new timestamp on there. And, oh, this unfortunately has temperatures with it. I apologize. Temperatures, they do matter, but that's not exactly the story getting into this weekend. So as we push it into our Futurecast Friday night, you can see how all of this moisture does start to build in there towards Arkansas. And as we get more towards our Saturday morning, there's those scattered chances that are possible early hours of our Saturday. Now, a big note with this forecast, how much moisture is actually in North Mississippi, allowing all of these showers to make it to the ground. Still a question I have heading into our Thursday time frame, but this is still several days out and that will get more fine-tuned. But what we're starting to get developing on our Saturday is this warm front. I know it's not labeled, but you can see how that it has that arching segment right there. That's going to be the warm front that is extending way more north than what models were projecting even 24 hours ago. What this means is those widespread rain chances that some models were expecting on Saturday, now pushing those a little bit more north. So Saturday going to be more isolated to scattered rather than widespread chances, and that's why they have come down a little bit. As we push more towards the afternoon hours, though, not impossible at all to get some of these scattered showers to develop right overhead. And that main system, you can see, unfortunately, I apologize that it's not labeled, but you have the center of the low right here and that cold front extending south. That cold front's what we're watching for any of those stormy conditions to build into North Mississippi and potentially some stronger storms developing out towards our south and west. You're getting that defined line right there, this bowing segment, not impossible at all to get some of those stronger wind gusts. They may remain sub-severe, but still going to be impactful because of all the branches and things that have broken off or died. And as we get more into our Sunday morning, it's going to be an overnight potential that builds into North Mississippi and gives us those increased chances of showers and storms by the time we're waking up, potentially heading out the door for church for those pastors out there. But fortunately, I think that once we get into the mid to late morning, that main line has passed. The unfortunate part is we get more development on the backside of that front that's continuing into North Mississippi by your lunchtime. So busy weekend, right? We got a lot of plans, probably a lot of plans that were made outside. Yeah, we might need to make some other arrangements. At least on Saturday, I think we will have a window of opportunity during the afternoon that remains a little bit drier, but we're going to be dodging showers here and there all afternoon. It just depends on where you're at and how those showers arrange in that warm sector. And we'll, of course, be watching that behind the scenes and fine-tuning that forecast as needed, but that's what we're expecting. So make plans accordingly. And honestly, if you can make them indoors, I think that's going to be your best bet because you don't have to dodge anything when there's a roof over your head. Sunday, widespread chances primarily going to be in the start of the day, but some of those chances linger into the afternoon, and storms are expected and unfortunately just not timing out well for those plans this weekend. We also have opening weekend of college baseball. Again, I think there's opportunities that we will have with some breaks in those storms. It's just going to still be a time where I think we're going to have to deal with rainfall at one point or another during a baseball game this weekend. And those chances a little bit more increased for Saturday and Sunday before that whole frontal system clears out and leaves us with a drier forecast into early next week. And not only is it dry, it keeps the mild temperatures around. So not much of a dip in temperatures, really not a dip at all. And we're getting back into the upper 60s and low 70s to start next week. So that taste of spring is becoming the main flavor, the main event. And we're not complaining one bit as we get some of that warmer air here in North Mississippi. So I do hope you guys are excited about this forecast. Don't get me wrong, I love these temperatures. But do note the two things before we leave the 10 o'clock. I want to wrap it up with this message. It's going to be cold Thursday morning. Layer up. Go ahead and turn those heaters on if you are able to, and stay warm into those overnight hours. And be prepared getting into this weekend. Right now, not really sold on the idea of strong to severe storms, but I think storms are a possibility and they can be impactful because of the damage we've gotten from the ice storm. So stay prepared. Download the Mississippi Live Weather app today and make sure to have those layers of protection as we get into this weekend, but really as we get into the spring season. It's Severe Weather Preparedness Week. We talked tornadoes earlier this evening, and if you missed it, go back on our YouTube or Matt's Facebook page and you'll be able to view some helpful tips that you can get prepared for as we get into tornado season and get you prepared before those storms. Get you prepared in the calm before the storm. Fitting, right? And as we get into the forecast tomorrow, we do keep that severe weather preparedness going. You'll have to tune in tomorrow to see what that day covers, but it is going to be important and one that I hope you guys are excited to learn more about and get prepared for here in North Mississippi. I hope you guys have a fantastic night. I hope that you are enjoying the the forecast for right now, enjoying the milder temperatures, but it is going to be a little bit of a soggy weekend ahead. And that's why it is of the utmost importance that you tune in to Mississippi Live Weather both morning and evening on the Mississippi Live Weather app. So if you've not downloaded it, iOS and Android allows you to do that today. And we appreciate all of those that have supported us so far. But I'm talking morning and night. Morning, including meteorologist Maggie McCauley at 6:37 and 7:30. And Chief Meteorologist Matt Laubon and I, we'll be back at 5, 6, and 10. live here from the Room to Room Weather Center for the very latest on this forecast. And I'll end it with G. Price. I'll take the rain over ice any day. I think North Mississippi is echoing that same saying because we do not want any more winter weather. And for anyone that's saying a round two on social media, there's no round two. There's just a rainy forecast ahead with some rumbles of thunder as well. So stay prepared for that. We'll keep you updated as the week goes on, but keep it here for the very latest.
Growing up, Gabe was naturally curious. When he began to discover weather, Gabe just didn't want to know what was happening, but he wanted to know why it was happening. Gabe became fascinated with tornadoes and it impacted his life. He wanted to pursue a career in meteorology. Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.